Welcome to Accounting Made Simple, where numbers make sense and confidence begins. I'm Mr. Samson, and today we are diving into corporate governance. Whether you're in grade 10, 11 or 12, you're in the right place. Let's break it down step by step. So from here, I'm taking you to my screen where we are going to focus on freestate paper for 2024. This is preparatory exam. So it's question 4, corporate governance, 15 marks in 10 minutes. Right, before we get into the topic, one needs to understand that corporate governance, in simplest form, represent the code of conduct for businesses. We have code of conduct for natural persons. For instance, each and every school have got a code of conduct for the learners. So corporate governance represents code of conduct for businesses. That's the topic. It is code of conduct for the business. And then, so where is the code of conduct? How do you get to use it? We should make reference to the King Code, number 4 of 2016. That's the code of conduct. Learn about all the pillars, go through it, understand, summarize it. At grade 12, this is pretty much basic. Anyway, let us do the questions, and then we'll be applying our knowledge about the King Code, about the general good practices of any business which wants to be ethical, because corporate governance produces ethical businesses. There are 3 types of independent auditors reports. For each of the following wording, give the correct type of the report the auditors will issue. In our opinion, except of the effect of, so this is our keywords, except of the annual financial statements present fairly in all material respects. So now using the keyword except for the effect of, we must deduce the correct report. So there is something wrong with this report. However, the rest of the things are okay. So we know this audit report, which will say our annual financial statements are good, except of one item, that the auditors didn't agree with the directors of the company. So we are going to call this a qualified audit report. Then number 2, in our opinion, the annual financial statements present fairly in all material respects. So this is the audit report that is issued for the company that have got good financial statements with no any mistake, and nothing was identified by the auditors that does not agree with what the directors have presented. So both the directors and auditors agree on this one. The opinion will be unqualified. Then number 3, because of the significance of the matter described, we have not been able to obtain sufficient audit evidence. So this is where we find our keywords. We have not been able to obtain sufficient audit evidence. So with this, it means you cannot provide an opinion. You don't have sufficient audit evidence, so you cannot tell if the financial statements are correct or not correct. So you're going to issue a disclaimer of opinion. This is the worst report that a company could ever get, because it shows that the directors were not doing the good job, and everything that they've presented was not good enough in the hands of the auditors. Now the examiner wants us to explain good corporate governance. So explain what is meant by good corporate governance, and explain why it is important to shareholders. Alright, so here we need space. Let's quickly create space for ourselves. Right, I've answered the first section there, so I'm not going to ignore that part. I need the space for writing our 3 marks. So corporate governance, we can say, it ensures that the company has proper rules, policies and practices to create long-term shareholder value. Alright, try to simplify it in a sense of someone who's doing grade 12. So remember, I said this represent a code of conduct, and code of conduct shows the rules, the policies, and the practice. What is it that we do in our businesses? How do we make decisions in line of this? So rules will have the general rules that we give to our staff, the general rules that we give to our directors. Policies could be policies on promotion, policies on environmental management, policies on human resource, and practices. There are several business practices that we can publish to ensure that we create long-term shareholder value. In all this, the idea is to be ethical, meaning doing the right thing. Now explain why this is important to the shareholders. So technically, we are linked to the shareholders here. The question can be changed and say, explain why it is important to other different stakeholders, but this time to the business, to the shareholder. Alright, so the explanation is 2 marks, then 1 mark is this side. Attracts potential shareholders. Shareholders are attracted to businesses that shows good corporate governance, to businesses that are in line in terms of ethics, complying with government regulations, complying with all the rules that are expected in the country. Once we have this issue of attracting potential shareholders, this will improve the share price. Alright, that is our question 4.2. Let us look at 4.3. So this one sorted. We have a lot here on question 4.3, so I'm going to zoom in. Consider the following scenarios which could arise in a business. For each scenario, state whether it is illegal or unethical. As a shareholder, how would you react in each case? What do you think will be the consequences for the guilty person? So now the examiner is testing our knowledge of ethics as well as our knowledge on criminal offenses. There's a thin line between ethics and criminal offenses, in the sense that criminal offenses, there is an act in our legislation that can be applied. Then ethics, we are simply looking at what is good or bad, what is justifiable or unjustifiable, what is right or wrong. And to do this, we apply the code of conduct. To test ethics, we apply the code of conduct, which is King Code number 4 of 2016. So on ethics, we apply our code of conduct. On criminal offenses, we apply the acts, but we are not going to write the acts. We just focus that this one is an illegal activity, this one is an ethical issue. So BB for Benny Brink, the CEO of a company that sells pharmaceutical products, learns before anyone else, this is interesting, that the company will lose a large contract with the government. It will have a very big negative impact on the profits of the company. He decided to sell his shares before the news becomes public. Right? Now you need your answer book. Check the structure that the examiner is asking for. So you need to indicate whether this is an illegal or unethical. This is illegal. It's a criminal offense. We call this insider trading. It's called insider trading. Alright, your reaction. Now you need to go back to the question. Your reaction should come as a shareholder. How would you react in each case? You are a shareholder. You are involved in this company, and your CEO is taking decisions using what we call insider trading. Recommend for dismissal. When you attend the AGM, this person must go. He doesn't act in the best interest of the company. So you recommend for, what are the consequences if it is proved that the CEO actually did insider trading? 1, the director or the CEO will be barred or prevented to operate as a director. So I think you know the term delinquent directors. These are directors that were suspended and barred. They can no longer manage any company that is listed on JSE. So it is an illegal activity. Insider trading falls under our organized crime, commercial crime. So we have something in the line of legislation that can be applied on illegal activities such as insider trade. As a shareholder, recommend for dismissal. The CEO will be barred and prevented to operate as a director. This one will become a delinquent director. That is for scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, we are going to read again. Thomas Brady, the CEO of the company, takes his whole family on vacation to Europe. He uses the company's funds to pay. Now we have a problem. The company's funds to pay for the vacation and ask the internal auditor to record the expenses as marketing. Alright, so our code of conduct is violated here. What is the policy of our company when it comes to marketing? We cannot have a policy which allows the whole CEO to go for marketing with the family in Europe. And do we have a market in Europe where he was doing the marketing? So yes, here I sense that there is a set of violation of the code of conduct. It is unethical of the CEO to even ask the internal auditor to lie about the actual purpose of the payments. It lacks integrity, the key element of ethics. To be honest, to never tell a lie. But the CEO is asking the internal auditor to give a lie. Then if you look at it again, this is illegal in the sense that there is stealing here, embezzlement of funds. The company funds are being stolen by the CEO and used for personal purpose. It's illegal. So recommendation or your reaction, you must recommend for an investigation. You must recommend for an investigation on the actions of the CEO. We want to get all the facts right, so recommend for an investigation so that you have a proper report which shows exactly the amount of funds which were used, when and where. Enough evidence. Now, if the person is guilty, the CEO must pay back the money. Use the company's money for personal gains, we want the money back. The CEO can go to disciplinary hearing. Alright, so that is scenario number 2. The last item, as it was a tough financial year, the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of a company, decided to withhold all year-end bonuses to their workers to increase the profit of the company. There's a problem here. Alright, code of conduct. If it is in our policy that we pay our workers bonuses each and every year, you cannot just throw away the policy because now you want to make profits. It is unethical. It is unethical. You have already created an expectation and there is a policy, meaning transparently so we know that workers should get their bonuses. The moment you stop that practice, it is unethical because there is no consultation of whatsoever. That's number 1. Then we also have an element of criminal activity here. It is illegal. Workers have got contracts. Contracts are legally binding documents that are protected through the legislation. So if you go against the contract that you have signed, the business and the workers, that's illegal. So your reaction, recommend this to comply with the contract of the workers. Otherwise we'll have a situation here. The CFO must comply with the contracts of the workers. And consequences, if he is guilty, dismiss the CFO. This is not tolerated at all. It's illegal. Alright, that is it for the question on corporate governance. This was the last section. Thanks for learning with me here today at Accounting Made Simple. If this video helped you, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it too. Each and every time throughout the week, I'll be sharing a few more videos on question 4. Stay sharp, stay consistent. Let us meet again. Goodbye. Specializing in washing cars. This is a service business.